Hi, this is Dr. Irina Diankova, licensed psychologist and registered yoga teacher, with an introduction to the Yoga for Healing Trauma class. I ask that you please watch this video in its entirety, either before or after you take my first yoga class. In this video, I will cover 4 different questions. 1. Why use yoga in the treatment of trauma? 2. What is the difference between yoga for healing trauma and regular yoga class? Number 3. How to get the most out of yoga for healing trauma class. And number 4. How to be safe in the yoga for healing trauma class. So let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1. Why use yoga in the treatment of trauma? If you have watched any other videos that I have put out that cover impact of trauma on the functioning of our brain and nervous system, or if you have taken my Trauma 101 class, you know that one of the important goals in the treatment of trauma is rehabilitation of the functioning of our autonomic nervous system and different structures in our brain. So, based on that, there are some goals that we would like to address in the treatment of trauma. And those goals are restoring the function of the autonomic nervous system through expanding the window of tolerance and learning how to stay inside that window of tolerance as much as possible. Second goal, rehabilitating of the brain, and more specifically, calming down hypersensitive amygdala, regulating function of thalamus, regulating the function of the emotional brain, and also building new neuronal pathways or strengthening existing pathways between frontal lobes and emotional brain. So those are goals based on neuroscience of what we know about trauma. There is another goal that we can add to the list, is forming new positive connection with your own body. And also learning how to control different body sensations and emotions. So one of the best ways known today to reach those goals that I just described is through the regular practice of yogic tools, including mindful movement, breathing techniques, guided meditations, and non-judgmental awareness of body sensations, emotions, and thoughts. All of those techniques will be taught and practiced in my Yoga for Healing Trauma class. Moreover, I will rely both on ancient yogic tradition and latest Western research in delivering content in this class. So as far as yogic tradition goes, we know that for the past 3,500 years, yogis have really developed and fine-tuned lots of different tools for keeping mind and body healthy. And we will be tapping in the richness of this tradition. On the other hand, Western research, especially in the past 15 years, has shown that regular practice of yoga in the treatment of trauma leads to reduction of PTSD symptoms, including chronic symptoms, reduction of anxiety, stabilization of mood, improvement of self-regulation, and improvement in the quality of life. So this is why we would like to use yoga in the treatment of trauma. Now, the second question that I would like to cover in this video is the differences between Yoga for Healing Trauma class and regular yoga class. So first of all, in my therapeutic yoga class, you will learn simple movements. So your current level of fitness or physical mobility is not really important. come as you are. I promise that no matter where you are at physically, I will be able to adjust practices that we are doing in the class to fit your body. Now, so there will be no headstands, no arm balances, no fast vinyasa flows in this particular class. Now, the second difference, we will be really focusing on how a particular pose is affecting your body. So it's not about how you look in this pose or how this pose looks on your body. It's really about how you feel in this pose. So this is what we will be working on. There will be no comparison to others who are practicing next to you or even to yourself, because day from day your body would feel different. Day from day you will have different limitations and different strengths that we will be working with. And so we will be coming to this situation from an accepting place. The main idea in this class is to really enjoy movement and flow, breath and visualization. There is absolutely no way to do it wrong. So we will be coming at all of those practices from playful and accepting angle. Now, another difference. I will not be using touch. I will not be using my hands to adjust you in any yoga pose. And this has to do with the sensitivity of trauma survivors to touch and with the fact that your boundaries have been violated through your traumatic experiences. And I don't want to increase the probability of you being triggered in my yoga class. This is why I will be keeping my hands to myself. Now, with this being said, I'm more than happy to work with you to help you find a particular adaptation of the pose that fits your body. I will be doing it by directing your attention to different parts of your body and giving you verbal cues. Finally, the final difference, between yoga for treatment, for the healing of trauma versus the regular yoga class is that we will not be focusing on physical fitness. So do not think about this class as another gym class. It's not the same as, swimming or running or going to Zumba class. Physical fitness is not the goal of this class at all. It may be a byproduct. If you keep practicing yoga on a regular basis, you will become more physically fit. But this is not our major goal. Our major goal is really helping your nervous system and your brain heal from the impact of trauma. So this is what we are after with all of those different movements, breathing techniques and meditations that we will be using in the class. All right, the question that I would like to address in this video is how to get the most out of Yoga for Healing Trauma class. So first of all, come every week. Regularity of practice is very, very important. One of my goals is to help you establish your home practice when you can practice not just once a week, but several times a week and preferably daily. All right, now bring your open mind and curiosity to this class. So we will be doing lots of different explorations. You will learn lots of different tools and techniques. Some of these tools will be helpful. Other tools you will not find as helpful. And so that's okay. You will just discard them and not use them again. Now, another idea that I would like to introduce is practicing one yoga pose on the daily basis, moreover 4 to 6 times a day for 6 weeks or longer. This is a very important aspect. If you can do that, you will really reap the full benefits of yoga for healing trauma. The reason that we want to practice one pose several times a day for 6 weeks or longer is when we activate the same areas of the brain in short bursts several times a day for 6 weeks or longer, those particular areas of the brain are getting rebuilt through new neurons that are being sent there, and also new neuronal pathways form among those structures that are activated at the same time. So, please do not freak out about the idea of doing something 4 to 6 times a day. First of all, it's just one yoga pose that you need to focus on. Second of all, this pose takes 30 seconds to 1 minute to perform. So it's not really significant amount of time that we are talking about. Throughout the day, those 6 practices will amount to 6 minutes at most. Okay? Now, it's not about perfection, it's about practice. So, don't worry about perfectly practicing 6 times a day for 6 weeks. Just focus on building that. Focus on practicing as much as you can remember throughout the day. It may really help you if you identify anchors that you can connect your yoga practice to. For example, every time after I eat, whether it's a meal or a snack, I practice yoga. This one pose, right? Or every time I wash my hands, or every time I step out of my car. So there are things in your day that you are doing on the regular practice anyway. Identify those things and connect your performance of yoga pose to those particular things. Now, if you are not sure what to practice, ask me. I will be more than happy to help you identify a particular pose based on your current goals and your current struggles. All right. And most important of all, do not give up. So keep coming back to yoga no matter what. No matter how many weeks or months you did not practice. There is an ebb and flow to our yoga practice, as there is an ebb and flow to most things in our lives. There will be days, weeks and months when you will not remember about yoga. There will be times when you don't feel like practicing. There will be times when you feel despair, hopelessness, anger, denial, and as a result, not really feel like practicing yoga at all. So all of those things are to be expected. This is the baseline that we are working with. So whenever you fall into a lull and you don't practice yoga for a while, do not criticize or blame yourself for that. Again, this is normal, it's to be expected. Instead, when you get out of the lull, give yourself a pat on the shoulder. Say to yourself, good job. So anytime you come to yoga class, anytime you set your foot on that yoga mat, say to yourself, good job. I am proud, I am excited. Thank you, my mind and my body, for bringing me to yoga today. All right. So, fourth and final question that I will cover in this introductory video today is how to stay safe in your Yoga for Healing Trauma class as well as during your yoga practice. First, very, very important guideline. Listen to your body. Not my body. Not the body of the person who is next to you, but your own body. Your body will tell you when it is time for you to stop the pose, when you're pushing yourself too hard, or when you're pushing yourself not enough. Now, you may not be accustomed to listening to your body. It may be a new concept for you, and that's okay. It's just a practice. You don't have to be perfect in it. Just, working on learning how to listen to your body. Now, if you notice any new pain in any practice that we are doing, it means that you need to stop and back off. Whether backing off means slowing down, or backing out of the pose, or maybe completely stopping the pose, it's for you to decide. Now, when you get triggered in the yoga class, and you heard it right, not if you get triggered, but when you get triggered. Because I promise you, at some point you will get triggered. It is to be expected, and it is perfectly okay. Because traumatization, complex trauma, PTSD go hand in hand with different things in this world becoming triggers for our symptoms and re-experiencing of trauma. So yoga class is no different. Be ready for that. It helps to talk to your therapist beforehand, if you have one, about ways to cope with the triggers when you're in yoga class. It may also help you to journal about it. You may already have coping strategies and plan for dealing with triggers when you are in the world, so you can use those same techniques and that same plan when you're dealing with a trigger in yoga class. If you're not sure what to do, here are some suggestions that I have for you. When you notice that you got triggered, get out of the pose and either come into the mountain pose, a child's pose, or cross-legged seated pose on your mat. Bring your focus of attention to your breathing and just spend a few minutes doing that. You can add imaginary roots to ground yourself. So those roots that grow out of the basis of your spine, of your sitting bones, or of the soles of your feet. Another option, you can step out of the room and walk slowly, focusing on the connection between your feet and the ground and your breathing. Another option, you may choose to go to the bathroom, splash some cold water on your face, look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself several times, I am okay here now. I am okay here now. When you are ready to come back to yoga class, just come back into the room, step on your mat, and keep going. After a yoga class in which you got triggered, I suggest that you do one of the following things. Maybe spend a few minutes journaling about your experience. Maybe talk to someone you trust about your experiences. You can talk to me or one of your friends or your therapist. Another option, focus on soothing yourself. Some of the soothing things that you can do are wrapping yourself in a warm blanket, drinking a cup of warm tea with honey, or just giving yourself a hug. All right, so next guideline. Let me know about any issues or struggles that you have during your yoga class. You can always talk to me before the class or after the class. You can shoot me an email. Also, please ask questions. It's okay to ask questions anytime, before, during, or after the class. I love answering students' questions. I will never make you feel like your question is stupid or like it's not okay to ask a question. Okay, and so finally, I think the most important guideline, remember, you are in control of your practice, not me. You are. So, it's okay for you to do whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe and set your own boundaries. You are an expert on yourself, the best one there is and there ever will be. So, stop at any time. If you would like to get out of the pose and do something different, absolutely do that. I want you to understand that anything that I offer in my yoga class is an invitation for you that you can say yes or no to. You can also change your mind. Maybe in the beginning you say yes to the invitation and then you change your mind and you say no. And that is perfectly okay. I'm not going to question your choices here. All right. So, I'm welcoming you to my healing of trauma yoga class. I'm looking forward to meeting you and having you in my class. Happy practicing. Namaste.